just going to go straight in and start drafting the back of my pattern. First thing I'm going to do is to measure the back of my block like so. So I got 9.5 and I'm going to be dividing that by 3, and I'm going to have 3.1, so I'm going to be marking 3.1 on the bust line. So I chose to start marking the 3.1 from the side seam because I just want whatever excess I have to remain on the center back piece. I'm then going to just draw a square line from that point all the way down to my hip line. I'm going to do that for the first line as well as the second line. Here I'm just tracing out my waistline just to make it a bit more clear, and then I'm going to be applying my waist reduction again on my waistline for the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be reducing 0.5 inch from the center back line on the waistline as well as 0.5 inch on the side seam. So from the center back, I'm just going to curve from that 0.5 to the bust line, and then I'll measure 4 inches downwards, and then I'm just going to curve from the waistline to that 4 inches on the center back line. Then on my side, I'm also going to measure 0.5 inch, and then I'm going to curve it down to my hip line and then up to my bust line. Now for the rest of my waistline, I'm just going to apply the same method that I did on the front. So I'm just going to measure the space I have on the pattern, the waistline space I have on the pattern. Then I'm going to carry my quarter waist measurement that I'll be using, which is 26 inches. That's 6.5, and then on my waistline I have 8.5. So 8.5, I'm going to subtract 6.5 from that, and I'm going to have 2 inches, and the 2 inches I have is what I'm going to use basically for my dart. So 1 inch on each, 1 inch for each of the darts, so 0.5 inch on each side of the dart lines. I'll then connect all dart legs to the hip line like so. Now on my bust line, I'm going to be measuring 1 cm on each side of the darts like so. This is so I can be able to just take in a little bit more excess on the back of my pattern so that it won't be too loose at the back, to have like a nice snug fit. Now you can choose to finish up your back line any way that you want, any way that you prefer. It can be, you can make it deep, you can make it low, you can make it high like I'm just doing like so. Whichever way, it's your choice, but I choose to make it higher. That is my choice. So when you're making it higher, just extend your dart lines again because you're going to be cutting out the panel, so you have to extend your dart lines. In case you want to drop your back line, you can do it just like so as well. Lastly, I'm just going to make the same adjustment for my hemline. So 4 inches on your side seam. The back, you can make it shorter than the side seam, so I'm making it 3 inches on the center back, and then you just connect it with a line, with a curved line or with a straight line. It all depends on your preference. Don't forget to mark your panels, so B1, B2, B3, so that I will know that it's my back 1, back 2 and back 3. Also remember to just use your tape to cross-check your measurements again. Be sure that your bust measurement is the same measurement you have on your pattern. Your waist measurement is what you need on your pattern. So one last final adjustment before I cut out my pattern. I'm just going to be extending my center front line to my neck point instead of just leaving it at the bust point line, and I'm just adjusting the curve to make it more smoother, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut out my pattern. So before I cut, I'm just going to be adding as much allowances as I can. So I have ½ inch on my hemline. On my side seam, I'm going to be adding 1 inch, so 1 inch on the side seam, and then every other place I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch, apart from the side seam of course, which is 1 inch. Same thing I'm going to be doing for the back of my pattern. Now, having cut out my pattern pieces, I'm going to be adding more paper so that I can add my sewing allowances all around. So you can use your gum or your masking tape or your sellotape, whichever one works for you. I'm using my masking tape, and you can see that I already sellotaped it like so, and then I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch allowance all around this piece. This is my front one piece, so this is my center front piece. This is the first piece. I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch all around it. I'm going to be using this method to add sewing allowances for my F1 and F2 pieces, as well as my B2 pieces. So my F1, F2 and B2 pieces, I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches all round as sewing allowance. So after adding the allowances, I am going to cut out my piece. So I'm going to do this for, again, let me repeat, I'm going to be doing this for my F1, F2 and B2 pieces. These are the pieces I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch allowance all round. Now for my F3, B1 and B3 pieces, the reason why I'm not doing them the same way is this. My F3 and my B3 pieces are my side seam pieces, so I'm going to have to add my 1 inch on the side seam, my 1 inch allowance on the side seam. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch like so, and then on other parts of the pattern I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches. And then for my B1 piece, which is the piece with my zipper allowance, I'm going to be adding 1 inch again on the center back for my zipper allowance. And that's it on the pattern process for our 6-panel corset. Make sure to tag us on IG or Facebook if you try out the pattern. Let's know how you fared with the entire process, and also just let us know what you think about the process, if you can make it better. If you have anything you want us to try out, please let us know in the comment section below. Thank you.